I'm finna drop the light and set this game on fire. See me burn to death before I retire. Everybody surprised they spit this hot. Like how the white boy get his game unlocked. I'm a full-blown pride to the melting pot. Color don't mean a thing if you want my thoughts. Wait, hold up 1 second. Let me take a quick breath before I kill this record. Okay, now I'm good. I've been eating all my greens like a good boy.
All right, welcome to Shit Happens When You Party Naked, everybody. Take two. You're not going to hear the first take because it was fucked up. But I want to welcome everybody to the show. Thank everybody for listening. Everybody who's listened to the show the last couple of weeks said nice things to me. I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe. Feel free to share with a friend too if you know somebody who might like to listen to this shit. Subscribe, share with a friend, share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, all that fun shit. Today I am joined by my Melanson fam. I got Earl with me. What's up, Earl? Say hey to everybody.
How you doing?
How you doing? I've also got, for the first time, PJ Melanson. That is my brother-in-law.
Hi, how are you?
You sound great, PJ. Way to lean in. I really like the way you get on that mic. So, how's everybody's Saturday?
Oh, it's good for St. Patty's Day.
We are recording on St. Patty's Day. You guys listening are probably going to be, well, you might not be hungover anymore. It'll be Monday, but we're recording a St. Patty's Day episode, so I'm pouring myself a little bourbon here.
Look at the Irish.
Yeah? So, quick question. Are you guys Irish at all?
Never.
Is there any Irish in you?
PJ?
I don't think so. You would know.
No, I wouldn't. No,
Well,
I don't think so. We're all French. French Canadians.
French Canadian.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, no Irish, but we're celebrating anyway.
Yeah, what the hell?
What the hell? Why the hell not?
Yeah, everybody's Irish, a little bit Irish.
Well, today, I mean, just, take
Let me
credit.
ask you this. What is the, what does it mean when you wear orange on St. Patrick's Day?
I have no idea. What does it mean?
I
I
understood.
I've never heard of it.
Huh? You never heard of it? I thought it was like a slap in the face.
So, like saying "fuck you" to the Irish,
Right.
sorta?
Yes, and it has something to do with when they were at war. They're still battling with the IRA and all that stuff.
Okay.
And I think it was like a slap in the face to the Irish to wear orange. Because the British wanted to take over Ireland. That's what they want, I guess. It has something to do with the Protestants.
I don't know. Well, I think the Irish are all like Catholic, though, right?
Right.
Yeah, but the English are Protestants, and that's why they got into a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Fight a little bit over that. Yeah.
King James version of the Bible.
So
I just Googled that.
our show producer has some info. Everybody say hey to Chrissy. What's up, Chrissy? Hi.
So it says Protestants protest by wearing orange instead of green. Ironically, no one wears white. The placement of the white stripe between the green and orange stripes on the Irish flag is supposed to symbolize the peace between Roman Catholic majority and the Protestant minority.
So
I don't really understand what I just read, but
I think what you read is that the Protestants in England wear orange to say "fuck you" to the Irish, and I don't dig your stupid holiday.
Well, they don't like, they want to be independent. The Brit, the Irish, they want to be independent, and so England wants them as a part of them, and that's what this whole IRA thing is. The Irish Republican Army and all this stuff. It's just that has to do with all that. And I think that was like a symbol, the orange. I always wondered about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I knew the flag was green, white, and orange because if Carrie hears this and we don't defend the Irish and say good things about the Irish and then express at least a little bit of knowledge about the Irish, she may not speak to us again because she's Irish and they're in Ireland right now.
they're currently in Ireland.
They're currently in Ireland.
Great place to go, I guess.
So this episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Wing Kong Trading Group. It is brought to you by a new product of theirs called Vlad the Impale-Her. Vlad the Impale-Her. I think it's an erection pill. The Vlad the Impale-Her. It's the HER is all caps. So Vlad the Impale-Her. And again, you can find it at fine gas stations near you. So go take some Vlad the
I
Impale-Her,
need a
guys.
yearly subscription.
You know, they sent me a box. I'll just...
Okay.
PJ, you want some of that? You want some of this Vlad the Impale-Her?
No, thank you, Jason.
Yeah, well, shit. All right.
Well, he's young yet. He doesn't need it.
I mean, he's got a lot of gray in his beard, though. Look at him.
Yeah, that's true. He's getting old.
He's getting old. And I mean, everybody can use a little Vlad the Impale-Her. Vlad the Impale-Her. I love the puns. This guy's at the Wing Kong there. Somebody speaks English over there. Yeah, Vlad the Impale-Her.
I wonder if the sales have increased from the Bill Cosby.
I don't know.
Following
I
your
gotta.
podcast last
Yeah, we need to talk to somebody about the Bill Cosby. PJ, did you hear about the Bill Cosby?
I did not, Jason.
The Bill Cosby is it's a sleep remedy. It'll knock you the fuck out.
Oh, so that's
Bill Cosby.
Oh, for Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I think it's a play on words. Yeah, it's the pill. It's Bill Cosby, and you're not supposed to give it to anybody else. So anybody who's listening, please don't give Bill Cosby to anybody, especially if they don't know. If they don't know you're giving it to them, you know, make sure that everybody you give it to, make sure you know that they're giving it to them. You giving it to them. Don't give it to somebody that doesn't know you're giving it to them. And I mean that generally speaking, as well as specifically to Bill Cosby. So, PJ, I would like to invite you now to go ahead and get real close to that microphone. Just get right up on it and just exhale. Just blow right out. Oh, a little bit of that. Give it a good one, just like earlier. Well, appreciate.
Are you protesting?
I think
Huh?
he's
No.
protesting a little.
I don't
bit,
want to
it
get
seemed
yelled
like.
at.
Did you get?
I got scolded.
You got scolded.
Somebody slapped my penis because I was fucking around.
Yeah, slapped your penis. Who slapped your penis? I would do no.
I
such
was
thing.
just, throwing that
Your
out
wrist, maybe, but the producer's pouring herself another bourbon. How many is that, Chrissy? Are we not keeping track? It's St. Patty's Day. Why keep track? Right? Why keep track?
Are you slapping me with your penis?
Absolutely not. Your parents are here.
What the F?
Yeah.
there. Come on, PG, folks, PG.
I
Okay,
mean,
PG-13.
PG-13 at the best.
All right. This is a pretty hard R show, actually. We play some fucked up. We're gonna play some of that audio for PJ. I think that might change his life a little bit, but
And maybe Tammy's.
and possibly Tammy's as well. You know.
What?
We played it for you the last time. The dude getting kicked in the schmack.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah. How did you feel about that? Did you go home and
I thought that
download
was
a whole
pretty
bunch
ridiculous. I mean, that's just, come on.
So, PJ, I'm sure you're familiar. People do some weird stuff for sexual gratification.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure, yeah. And I mean, the internet is filled with people doing such things.
How can that
Absolutely.
help your sex life? It just debilitates it.
I would think that it would be rather debilitating long term, but
You
not
don't want to
always.
get
I
slapped
guess.
with a penis.
What are we talking?
No. He slaps your penis. Because you did something bad. I don't know. No. Oh.
Do we have to buy tickets
No.
for it or what?
We saw that in Vegas. You could pay
coming
Yeah,
money.
I've seen that. That's
Coming out of the.
why would you do that?
It's coming out of the speaker.
It is. It is. I should turn my Bluetooth on.
And it's so weird.
There it is in
Very
slow
mean.
motion. She's wearing boots and nothing else, and just letting this guy schmack have it.
That's what
So-
happens
it's very
if you do
mean.
something wrong on this show.
So that is what.
That's the escalation.
Yeah. If you f around too much when I'm trying to record the intro, I mean,
You get your penis slapped.
you might
Or
get it
kicked.
kicked by a naked lady wearing boots, and Earl is just rubbing his temples. We're like 5 minutes into this thing, and Earl is just rubbing his temples. Like what?
Proud of you,
in the
Pop.
fuck?
Proud of you, buddy.
You like that? I don't understand that. How
Yeah,
can
I don't
somebody
get it either, but-
Enjoyment out of that.
I get enjoyment out of it. I'll be honest with you guys. I get enjoyment out of it. I get enjoyment out of watching it. I think the shit is hilarious. Like PJ won't even look, but I think it's just.
It's painful.
Yeah, but I think it's hilarious.
I
I
just
can't
cringe.
stop. I can't look. I mean, yeah, I do cringe a little bit too, but it's also like the sound that he makes. It's just funny.
Yeah, but how can you walk? I just don't understand that.
Yeah. So, PJ, do you have any friends that send you fucked up videos like that? You got any friends?
No, not really.
But you're a dude. I mean, like, Christina and I were having a conversation earlier about how different it is when women kind of hang out with women, and then when she comes out and hangs out with me and my guy friends, how different it is. Like, we make fun of each other, we rag on each other, we give each other shit, and then we, like, laugh at videos of girls shooting cucumbers out of their butt. Do you not relate with that, PJ?
I work in a shop, Jason.
Yeah, exactly. It should be worse than whatever I've seen. Should pale in comparison.
Yeah,
to
but
some of the shit.
I work in a shop.
The shit you
It's
see,
nothing but grab ass in the shop.
Yeah, but I mean, like, don't you?
So
have,
I live those videos you get.
Yeah. Oh, so you shoot cucumbers out of your butt on like a Tuesday?
Well, we
He's
shoot,
in some of
we
the
shoot
videos.
things,
I mean,
let's say. But I live that life, Jason.
yeah. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that? I want to dig into that a little bit. I want to.
Explore.
Yeah. So like, what kind of shit do you deal with on a daily basis? Damn, Earl, you should have brought 3 beers over.
Oh, I lost my glass. Give me this.
Hold on a second. You gotta. Yeah, that's the video I was talking about with the girl shooting a cucumber out of her bum. PJ is my brother-in-law. He's on the show, of course. He has some kids, one of whom is Josh, our nephew, me and Christina's nephew, Josh. And you were just saying, PJ, a moment ago that Josh, he's in high school. He's a high schooler, and their high school recently had a walkout. I got that correct?
That is correct, Jason.
Thank you. So the walkout was in response to the recent news about guns and
Parkland shooting. Yes, that's correct,
Parkland
Jason.
shooting in Florida. Yeah. So tragic event, but so it's just surprising that in Maine, I guess that was nationwide. The walkout. It was
Right. Ours was held after. It was supposed to be held on March 14th, but we had a big-ass snowstorm, so they did it the day after, March 15th. And it was the school allocated 17 minutes for them to do their little protest inside the school. I think it was
so
in the morning or something.
It was a walkout, but they stayed inside the school.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a protest. That's all it really was. They're calling it a walkout, but
Yeah, that's one fuck of a walkout. I'm just saying, like, I guess it is. Look, they're in Maine. It's cold. You know, there's snow. You don't want to walk outdoors, so you just walk out of the classroom, mill about in the hallway for 17 minutes. And so, how did Josh feel about that?
he's not really for it. The big thing is they weren't done with the 17 minutes, and then they went outside to continue protesting after their allocated time, and then it was just a huge, parents were all in an uproar because they couldn't get back into the school, and they broke the rules, and then they're all pissed off because they couldn't get back into the school.
You're saying that they overwent their 17 minutes, that they...
Right, they went outside.
Seriously, you're going to let a bunch of 16-year-olds out of the classroom for, okay, you can go fuck around in the hallway, but only for 17 minutes. At minute 18, you got to get your ass back in the seat, and we're going to start talking about fucking algebra again. Of course, a high school student's going to be, fuck that, I'm going to go out in the parking lot. I mean, if you got half a brain, you're going to try to roll a joint, and you're going to try to get high and then go back. I mean, you don't want to go back there. How are you going to give them a 17-minute break and basically say, okay, you got 17 minutes. Why 17 minutes, by the way?
The 17 kids.
17 kids were shot or
that's what I
killed or
thought.
whatever.
I thought that was symbolic of the deaths in Parkland, which, I'm not making light of that, of course. It's just funny that how are you going to rein these teenagers back in after 17 minutes? How are you going to get them back in the classroom? And like, okay, you had your 17 minutes. It was, you accomplished the thing that you wanted to do, but now we got to pay attention to social studies again or whatever the fuck, How do you feel about it, Earl? You're kind of quiet over there.
I think
Joanne is producing this show pretty well in Christina's absence. She's telling you to move closer to the mic. She's doing this number. And
I know.
Joanne,
that.
you're doing great. You're gonna get
yeah.
production credit on this episode, Joanne. That's
whatever.
good work. But she's thinking about audio quality, which is great because she doesn't even have the monitor headset on. She can't hear this, but she's considering our audio quality, which which
Well,
is
she listens to me all the time, so she's probably glad she can't hear me now. So that's a pretty good thing. Well, my opinion of this walkout is, I think that students have been, they're being used. They're being used by the left, or whatever you want to call them, the left.
yeah.
They're not. I'm not saying they're ignorant, but they don't have the life's experiences yet. They don't have.
So that gurgling sound that you just may have heard, I don't know
That's
if the mic
my
picked up or
son.
not. That is PJ chugging another fireball. Way to go, PJ. You know
Fireball.
what? I think certain places maybe frown upon you drinking a nip of Fireball, just shooting it down. But fuck that. We're big fans of that type
Pretty
of behavior
liberal.
around here. Yeah,
It's really laid back here, Jason. Thank you.
yeah. Well, you know what? If if you're gonna party naked, you might as well have some Fireball. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
If you need another shot, we can, I can send one of the producers to go grab you another little Fireball nip. And
Let me ask you something, Jason.
Yeah,
What's
ask
your
me
opinion?
something.
What's your opinion of the school walkout?
oh, but I have to stay so neutral so that people can listen to this. Like,
Well, what about in Atlanta?
I've got left leaning
What happened
friends,
in
I've got
Atlanta?
right leaning in Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't have any. I mean, here I've got nieces and nephews in Maine, in schools in Maine, and I've got nieces and nephews in New York. But I don't really have any. I don't have any school-aged friends or family in Atlanta. So I imagine that it was similar. Like they did have some high school walkouts, and I mean, honestly, I think on the one hand, it's very important that the voices of these young people be heard, because if anybody, whether it's a young teenager, a 15, 16-year-old teenager, or if it's an adult, regardless of the age, I mean, if someone expresses a concern about their safety and security, about feeling safe when they're in public or when they're at school, I mean, I'd kind of be shitting bricks. I was in high school when Columbine happened, so I understand how things felt in the aftermath of such a violent event, and how people did kind of feel a little frightened and a little bit at jeopardy, because who knows, your school could be next. I remember being 17 or so when that happened, and that was scary shit. So I don't really blame these kids for also feeling like, hey, I don't want to feel like I'm sticking my neck out here just to go to school, because most of the kids are like, fuck school anyway. I don't even like this place. I don't want to get fucking shot for showing up at this place. I don't want to hang out at it anyway.
Now go a little deeper, because you're dealing with a constitutional right. This is a right.
Indeed, and I'm certainly not saying that I'm necessarily in favor of repealing an amendment, but I don't blame someone, or I don't want to discount someone's feelings when they say, I don't feel secure here. I feel like anybody could walk into my school at any minute, pull a fire alarm, and then when we stream out into the hallway, start picking us off kind of at random.
Okay,
So, but then on the other hand, I mean, you do have again a constitutional amendment, and I think just being practical, good luck uprooting that one for anybody who's pro repeal of Second Amendment. I don't really see that happening either.
No, I don't either. But why don't we harden the schools? I don't understand.
So that's a good question.
The problem.
Actually, let me ask you too. How do you feel about the proposal to arm people at the school, whether they be teachers or not? How do you feel about increasing security? Because in the wake of 9/11, I will say, in the wake of 9/11, certain security measures at the airport. I mean, you guys are both old enough to remember before 9/11, you could do whatever the fuck you want at an airport. We could record this fucking podcast at the terminal and get shit-faced. It didn't matter. But after 9/11, of course, the rules changed a little bit. You weren't going to accompany your family member all the way to the gate. There was security. You had to go through certain steps. So in response to a tremendously traumatic national event that was just humongous, historical event, there were changes to security, and now you got to deal with the TSA. You got to take your fucking shoes off. You got to let the guy pat your ball sack to make sure you're not going to blow up the fucking plane. I don't know if you've flown recently, but they get up in there. I'm surprised they don't put 2 digits in my asshole every time I fly, because they're getting up in there. I'm like, dude, not only do you have I stepped through this body scanner. You know what my balls look like. You're getting up in there with your hand. Like, you're not even using the back. Like, these guys are tickling your shit.
Yes.
So, how do you guys feel about PJ? How do you feel about the idea of stepping up that type of security at like a school?
Well, Jason, you don't you can't enter any federal building and actually go through and enter the building without going through, metal detectors, armed guards everywhere. The White House is the same way. Any government, any police station, any place. Well, the school should be secured just like congressmen and anybody in the government. They should be protected just like the government or any rich.
Well, we're talking about public schools. I mean, this is
absolutely public schools. Well, the whole problem is somebody's going into a public school with a gun and shooting the place up. If there were armed guards protecting the kids, that's not going to happen anymore. There's several instances out there where school resource officers take down the person that's trying to harm all the kids in the school. So there are some different examples of it. So they need to be protected just like anybody else, just like any congressman, the president, Ellen DeGeneres, or any other rich person that goes out in public that has armed guards surrounding them, the Pope. They all have armed guards. The children should be protected just like everybody else that thinks they need the protection.
Yeah. Well, I certainly think the facility, I mean, you have a good point. What do you think about arming the teachers necessarily?
Any way to protect them. Yeah. If the teachers want to take on the role of protecting the kids, then that's what needs to happen.
So you think maybe it should be voluntary? Like, I mean, I can remember plenty of teachers that were dipshits that I'm not sure that arming them would do us any good. Like,
and they probably wouldn't accept the challenge. They probably wouldn't want to take on protecting the students. So that
maybe it should be like you got the sky marshals now. You got those, there's always the guy undercover on the airplane that's like, he's the dude, and you don't know he's the dude, but he's like the dude.
Well, there's always money to fix the roads. There's always money to pay the teachers. There's always money to pay people that work in the town offices or the policemen or the fire department. There's always money for all that stuff. Why is there no money to put an armed guard in the school to protect the children?
Yeah.
The taxpayers pay for that school. The taxpayers pay for the fire department, police department, road crews, everything else that goes on. Why are there not armed guards protecting our children?
So, but I mean, even looking back at the Parkland thing, it does sound like, according to what I've heard on the news and stuff, again, I'm no expert, but it sounds like there was at least one security officer.
He was cowering behind a car because he didn't want to go in and fight. Well, that's maybe maybe that goes back to the sheriff's department and to that department. Maybe it goes back to the police department as their fault for that killing. If a cop with a gun was cowering behind, I mean, I can't control what the person that's supposed to protect the children does.
No, but does that mean that we don't just need one guy? Because, I mean, I don't know how big your high school was. My high school was pretty big. I don't know that one person, if they were in the wrong spot, if an attacker knew kind of, oh, he's on this side of the high school, I'll start shooting up this end, and he won't know I'm here for 5 minutes, and I can create a lot of mayhem and carnage before this guy gets to me, if he even does, like, sack up to come in and fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like, how many people do we need?
Well, let me ask you, how many times have you seen anybody infiltrate an Air Force base, Army base, any of these bases? They're hardened. You can't get in there. So I think you should harden schools. I mean,
harden the target,
right,
is what you're saying.
I mean, at least to get into the building. You don't have to make a fence all the way around the school, but it should make it more difficult to get in through the front door.
Yeah. So you're saying much like with I create the analogy with the airport because, of course, 9/11 was tremendously violent, but it was extremely traumatic. I mean, it affected everybody across the nation, regardless of the body count. I mean, we were all affected by that day. And then that obviously had policy changes that affected the way national security was handled. But it affects us. I think everybody in this room. I think it affects because of how we experience it when we fly, when we go somewhere. I mean, I know PJ and Tammy have flown recently. Christine and I fly several times a year. I mean, you have to deal with this heightened security shit now, and it hasn't gone away. It's been,
Yeah, but you can still walk into an airport. You can still walk into an airport. You can't board a plane with a gun unless you check it, but you can still walk into an airport.
That's right. You can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. Right. If you walk into the airport with a gun and you pull it out and you start blowing people down, there was a guy that flew, landed, got his baggage, pulled the gun that he had checked on his baggage,
yeah. I remember
and
that
started
story.
blowing people. That was in Florida.
Yeah.
So you can still go into an airport and cause as much damage as you want with a gun. I mean, just because you're not taking down a plane, you could still kill people.
You won't get
if
it
that's
past
your
security.
intention.
Yeah.
Right. You can still go in. You can go into the baggage claim. There's all kinds of areas you can still go into the airport without boarding the plane.
I think, PJ, what that really brings up for me is that the wonderful thing about the gun is that it democratizes violence. Where thousands of years ago, before the creation of such weaponry, the people who were larger, who were stronger, had they kind of held the monopoly on violence. Like, I could do violence on someone who's smaller than me, who's younger than me, who's weaker than me, because I'm this big 250-pound dude. But then the idea of a weapon like that is that it democratizes violence, and now you can give someone a gun who might be smaller than me, as long as they can aim okay. You know, they can hit me with the gun before I can get to them and choke them out or bash their brains in, or like an old school style of violence. So I think that's a double-edged sword in that it's wonderful for self-protection that like a woman can carry a gun in her purse or something like that, and now this person who's maybe a 120-pound lady can defend herself against a 250-pound dude, whereas if you take the gun away, I mean, there's really that there's no contest there. But then, PJ, what you were saying is especially true because now anyone who can obtain one of these can now do violence at various places. Like you mentioned, the airport. Although there's a lot of cops outside an airport. I will say last time we pulled up at an airport, Christina, when we were getting on the flight from Atlanta to come back here, there was cops all over the outside of that airport. I don't know how much damage you can do if there's like a dozen cops like standing right outside the airport. I mean, the minute the shot
but
goes
they're
off.
just traffic.
No, but I mean, I think they would rush in if they heard gunfire and if
rush in.
people were
so-
How
screaming.
much damage
All
would
right.
be done?
So let's ixnay the gun violence part. If somebody wanted to hurt people at an airport, could they not drive up to where you unload with a car bomb and blow the shit out of a bunch of people? So
Yeah.
evil is evil no matter what. Evil is evil. If somebody wants to harm somebody, they're going to use whatever they can to harm somebody.
Yeah, but just to play devil's advocate for a moment, when I hear a lot of folks who are, maybe they do fall into that more right-leaning kind of pro-gun crowd, and I'm a gun owner. I got to be honest. I do own a gun, and I have a concealed carry permit. Maybe they should take, I did pay money for the background check that was required before purchasing the gun, as well as before getting the concealed carry permit that I have. So maybe, like PJ was saying a moment ago, that we spend a lot of money to secure certain places. You can't go into a courtroom. I don't know how many of you guys have been to court. I've been to court. Hey, I don't mind admitting on this fucking podcast. Hey, I've been to court a time or two. Hey, it's okay. You know what? Look.
I haven't.
Yeah, okay. We're proud of you. But I've been to court for both of us. How about that? Hey, we've been to court. Everybody's been to court. You know what? I mean, look, I
Have you?
I stabbed that guy in self-defense, okay?
Have you been to court?
I fucking guy.
You've been to court?
Oh, shit. Joanne's been to court?
Like you were the
Yes, she has.
plaintiff?
Yes, she has.
Why?
Washington.
For what?
Car accident.
Oh, that's mundane.
That's nothing.
That's mundane. I was hoping
No,
that,
no,
like...
wait a minute. She went on the stand, and
She went on the stand and she was like, you can't handle the truth.
No, she turned into a turnaround lane. You know, it's like a divided highway.
Did mom F up?
No. Well, no, she was legal. And all of a sudden, a guy came along and hit her broadside. It was my
Yeah,
75
this was when she was pregnant, right? With the girls.
It was my
yeah.
75.
With PJ.
It was my 75.
She was
Cutlass.
pregnant.
No,
She
the
was
pre-
pregnant
no,
with PJ.
No.
No, it was you guys.
You guys.
Because I remember.
This is why you're like
I remember
you
her
are.
telling the story.
This is why you are. Anyhow, she got hit, and the cops came, and so I don't know if did they issue a citation to the other guy. That's right. They said she was out too far into the lane. She was obstructing the oncoming traffic. And well, she don't think she was that way, so she brought it to court. The guy that did it or hit her never showed up in court.
Yeah, so he loses instantly.
Yeah, so
that's bad.
no, wait a minute. She gets the case dismissed. She says, "But I have something to say," and the judge says, "Wait a minute, you already won, but I want to say this.
Yeah.
I really want to."
I practiced this in
I
front of the
did it.
mirror. I mean, let me say
right.
it.
She asked, "Did the cop smell beer or booze on the driver's thing?" Now this could have blown the thing right out of the water. But I guess he did. Right? Did he? And he exonerated.
Yes.
She didn't get a ticket. She fought it in court. I remember going down there with her. She's on the witness stand. The judges are saying, "You sure you want to say this?" I mean, it was just amazing. It was just, and she won. She was good. She's
Way to go. Way to not incriminate.
Fantastic story,
I
Earl.
feel like good job, Mom.
Way to go, Mom. Fruit cup. Way to go, Mom. Hey, Christina, will you pass me that bourbon over there, please?
a strong person.
Thank you. So, I believe I was before we started talking about Joanne's wonderful.
Oh, we went off track.
Yeah, we got off track. Well, look, obviously we've been drinking. This conversation is pretty.
I
loose.
haven't.
This conversation is more flaccid than I am right now. So
Okay.
it's all over the
Okay.
place.
Now, what do you feel about
So
weapons?
I think I was kind of in the middle of saying, well, I'm a gun owner.
I know you are.
I'm in favor of the
Why?
ownership of
Why do
weapons.
you feel you own a gun? Why do you feel you should be able to own a gun?
Well, because I'm not hurting anybody with it.
No, I understand that, but don't you think it's a right of yours?
Well, the way I think about rights is kind of interesting because in America we have the way the rights work is that they're not granted by the government. These are God-given rights. So, like, let's say I was just like in the middle of I don't know, an island somewhere, and I was all by myself. There was no government to rule me. I'm solo on this island. I have the right, because I'm alive and I'm there, I have the right to protect myself from maybe wildlife on the island. Maybe there's a bear, maybe there's wild
whatever.
boar. So I have the right to arm myself with whatever I can find in my environment to then protect the life that I have, because I am alive and I've been given life by whatever, whether you believe it's a metaphysical thing or purely biochemical, and I just my mom and my dad got it on, and so regardless, I have the right to then arm myself.
Against animals?
Well, I'm not. This is an example.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, in nature, we're just backpedal. Imagine that there's no society. We're just animals. An animal has a right to defend itself too, right? I mean,
Right.
If one animal is being attacked by another, then that animal does have teeth,
Okay.
claws, etc. It
Okay,
has a
fine.
right to defend itself. And if the animal has the wherewithal to pick up a stick and arm itself somehow, then that animal has the right to defend itself. And I don't know that I feel like the reason why we have that right is because if I was outside of any governing body, I would have the right to defend myself. I have the right to life. So if there was any other human being or any other animal that wanted to impede upon my right to live, I have the right to defend myself. And if I have the wherewithal, since I do have the brains to if I pick up a stick and hit this motherfucker, then, I'm defending myself. So I think that does extend to technology with regard to new developments in terms of weaponry. So I feel like I do have a right to own a gun because A, I like to shoot it. B, I'm not hurting anybody. C, if in case someone does ever break into my home, I should have the right to at least be able to put up a fight to protect myself and Christina, because she produces this show. She's important to us.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you are definitely. Oh, she's fine. What do you say, PJ, about the Second Amendment? I want to know your views.
Before we go too far, I was just going to, before we started talking about Joanne's traffic deal, I was just going to say that everybody pays money to have background checks when you buy a gun and when you get a concealed carry permit.
Yes.
So I had to pay. I don't know if I paid. I paid the state of New Hampshire, I'm sure, in order to get a concealed carry permit. So PJ was saying we have money to protect the White House. Ironically, I don't know. Have you guys ever visited the White House? I don't want to get too far off topic, but I visited the White House as a younger man, as a teenager. I went with my family, and we went to Washington, D.C. We visited the Capitol. It was wicked cool. We did take a tour of the White House, and there is a large placard before you enter the White House saying all the shit you're not allowed to bring in. And it's stuff that you can imagine. Oh, yeah, obviously I'm not allowed to bring fucking C4 into the White House. They don't want me to bring...
Damn!
I know, right? So you leave all your shit. But actually on the placard, it said not to bring nunchucks into the White House. Like fuck. Well, I already checked my gun. I left the C4 at the fucking hotel, but I can't bring my fucking nunchucks in. My fucking nunchucks. I can't bring my nunchucks in. I was gonna get the president to fucking sign my nunchucks. Anyway, you're not allowed to bring nunchucks into the White House. I guess that goes without saying, but if you're a dude and you're like, hey, I'm gonna go into the White House, but I want to bring my nunchucks in. I think that person should be allowed to. I think, you know what? Fucking A, that's awesome. If you want to bring nunchucks into the White House, that's fucking cool as shit. If I was the president, I'd be like, fucking let me see those things. Let me swing those. At any rate,
Talk to him. He's your guest.
PJ was saying that maybe, you know, how do we find the money to harden up the target, the soft target currently that is the school? How do, you know, you got to pay the guy to stand outside with the gun. And if you're going to have more than one guy, because one guy didn't work so well for Parkland, let's be honest, if you're going to have 2 guys or 3 guys or 5 guys, we're going to have to pay them a salary, right? We're going to have to buy equipment for them. Somebody's got to buy the bullets that they're going to shoot back at the attacker. So the idea is that where does money come from? And then the money that I paid for my concealed carry permit, why not use that to... everybody that gets a concealed carry permit, we're going to take that dough and we're going to roll that over. What do you think, PJ, about using that money to maybe help protect the schools?
Well, I would imagine most of that money probably goes to, like, the NICS unit that is doing the background checks.
Yeah.
It would have to come from somewhere else. But again, there's plenty of money that wasteful spending, lots of pensions that the government shouldn't be paying people's retirements. The government doesn't make money. The government receives money from their, the citizens. They don't make anything. They don't sell a product. There's no reason these bureaucrats should be getting massive pensions.
One might argue, though, that the government, they don't sell a product, but they provide a service. Do they provide a service by government?
And we pay taxes for that service.
We do. We pay for the service. But they do, like, I agree with you, the government doesn't produce something that then... I mean, they provide a value somehow, or we wouldn't. Why tolerate them if they don't provide us a value? If it's a service, then we demand more because they're not doing enough to protect the children. And I agree with that. I mean, there's been 17 kids dead at Parkland is 17 too many. But I would have paid more. I paid money to get a concealed permit, a handgun permit in New Hampshire, and I would have paid double. I would have paid triple if it meant that they were going to divert those funds. I understand you got to pay the guy who's doing the background check on me to make sure that I'm safe to have this concealed permit, but I would have paid double or triple to give, if some of that money was going to go towards security in, like you said, some of these softer targets. Because I do agree, it's too easy for this kid to walk in and light the place up, you know?
Yeah, there's plenty of funding. It just has to be redirected from wasteful funding, wasteful money that's spent on just waste. Okay. And there's lots of it in the government, and there's plenty of money to be had that doesn't need to go to bureaucrats or lobbyists or any of these other companies that pay to have
I
politicians.
thought you were saying for a second. I was like, oh my God, your mom is right there. I was going to say in front of your mom. I mean, I know we've dropped the F-bomb in front of your mom a whole bunch, but we should not say the word in front of Joanne. Please, don't say in front of Joanne.
She goes to church, on Sundays.
I understand.
That's like 1,000 Hail
Marys.
Marys tomorrow my mother's going to have to say.
I know.
But I was only saying.
Do
it to
you
say
have a
that I
heart,
don't approve.
Jason? Do you know what my mother's going to
Absolutely
have to
not.
go through tomorrow?
Well, I'm
Sunday
listen,
in church.
If my mom
You
listened to
bastard.
this shit,
You are such an asshole.
that
What
is
the
true.
hell is wrong with you?
That is true. The list is too long to even. Honestly, it's true though. If my mom listened to this podcast, she'd be very fucking ashamed of me right now. But listen, the only reason I said was to say that we don't accept that kind of language on this podcast. Look, there's a couple of words you can't say on this podcast. And
You said it 4 times.
look, I was only saying it to say that you can't say on this podcast.
Jason!
You cannot.
Stop saying.
Okay, my producer has told me to stop saying I can't say anymore. I'm so sorry, guys. Look, it's an erosion of our freedom of speech. It's just let's switch from the Second Amendment to the First and talk about how I can't say this word on the podcast. It is the rule. But my wife, I swear to God, I'm going to hit stop on this record, and she's going to punch me right in the sack for effing with her. And Joanna's nodding. So both of the producers think I should get punched in the sack.
Some
now.
of the women in your life right now are not approving.
Okay, but I was just saying
You didn't
it.
need to.
I said it less than 12 times, though. Come on. It's okay.
You said it 7 times.
You counted?
Yeah.
She jumped our car. She gave us a jump.
So I guess let's maybe I think. How do you guys feel about the gun topic? Do we feel good? I feel like we've addressed. I think both of you guys are pro Second Amendment. Obviously, I own a gun, so I mean, where does that put me?
More guns.
Yeah, I think.
Just to make this clear, Jason, Hitler's first thing that he did was disarm the populace of Germany.
Well,
then it was a huge Holocaust, and all the Jews died.
Yeah.
Because they had no guns to shoot the Nazis to protect themselves.
I mean, they didn't kill all of the Jews. There's still some.
And
left today,
that is another huge part of the Second Amendment.
Thankfully, we still have. Well, and I agree with you. I've actually talked to several people. I'm not going to say names, but I have talked to several people who say, "Well, that's not a concern for us." So that was then, and this is now. So we don't feel like we don't have to protect ourselves from the government. The government has tanks and they have jets and shit, and we've got AR-15s.
And we have millions and millions and millions of people to go and destroy your stupid tanks. That is a fundamental reason for the Second Amendment. If you look in history, it happens more and more.
Well, look no further than
Government
Vietnam.
takes-
Earl.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you this. The Japanese did not invade the United States in World War II because they said there's a gun behind every grass blade.
Every blade of grass. Yeah. No, I mean, but Earl has a point. I mean, it does kind of dissuade a foreign nation to think, well, every motherfucker in that whole country has like 4 guns each. I mean, there's like 4 guns per person. I mean, you try to invade and the entire country can pretty easily defend themselves, at least. They're not defending themselves against, bombs falling out of the sky or whatever. But the idea of like boots on the ground, I mean, hey, you try to invade and, you get the commie flag on you and I'm going to be sitting up on my roof popping everybody off until they get me, right? I mean, isn't that the idea behind if we are all armed and we're essentially a militia ready to happen in case of foreign invasion? But I think that most people who are anti, they're for maybe disarming a little bit more than we are saying that that's not a legitimate concern. And it's when you think about the lives lost in the Parkland shooting, you think, well, we want to preserve this right to defend ourselves even from a foreign nation, but are we being paranoid? Are we in thinking that this foreign nation might attack, and that in the meantime, while this foreign nation is not invading, we're losing teenagers to violence?
What do you think, Pete?
What did you say? Why did the Japanese attack? Say that
didn't.
again.
They did
never
not
invaded.
attack.
Yeah, they didn't
They
invade.
did not.
United States, mainland
Because everybody was
had a
armed.
gun.
Yeah, 'cause
That's
there's-
right.
Right. So having weapons is a deterrent,
That's right.
right? If okay, so if this kid, this park shooter kid, if he thought he was going to have the death penalty brought upon him, the death penalty is supposed to be used as a deterrent. If you get caught, you're going to be put to death. So if this was something that was used more, do you think shit like this would stop?
Well, let me ask you this.
Because he's already said, I will plead guilty if you take the death penalty off the table. He's already said that. He wants to spend the rest of his life in jail.
I'll be honest with you. For the most part, I'm an anti-death penalty guy. I don't believe, most part, 99% of the time, I think that I'm not for the death penalty. But
Why?
I mean, this guy, if they gave this guy the death penalty, I got to tell you, I'm not. It's not going to upset me.
Why
too
don't
much.
you like the death
Why,
penalty?
though? Because Tammy feels it's too easy. She
Well-
feels it's an easy way out.
No, I mean, there's definitely there's things to consider here. There's both sides, and I can feel both sides. You know, the death penalty is kind of the ultimate like removal of this person's agency.
I understand
Like
that, all that.
no
What
longer.
about torture? Would he be okay with torture?
Definitely not with torture. If you're going to kill the guy, but torture, no. And there's nothing to gain from torturing him either. I mean, it's one thing if
It's
you're
called repetition.
Hold on a second. But it's one thing if you're waterboarding Al Qaeda to get information on where they're going to attack next. But I think torturing a guy because he's done something wrong, it's punitive, right? So how much is the justice system meant to be punitive versus we're going to punish you for something you did? Anyway, at any rate, what I wanted to say is that there are a lot of studies out there that say that that making the penalty really harsh doesn't always dissuade people because they presume they're not going to be caught anyway.
Right.
Now, this guy may have presumed he's going to be caught. If you march into a school and start shooting the place up, I think you're presuming you're going to die or you're going to be caught. At any rate, if they execute the guy, I'm okay with it. Like I said, 99% of the time I'm against the death penalty, but there is that 1% if the person has participated in some really heinous shit, fucking with kids, shooting up innocent teenagers in a school. I mean, there's an argument for it, but then there's an argument for the death penalty by saying, well, why keep the guy alive? Tammy says it's too easy, but then keeping the guy alive costs money, right? I mean,
A lot of money.
Like Charles Manson, the guy lives till fucking 80. He has conjugal visits. He's got his girlfriend coming to jail, jerking him off. She's getting pregnant. Why should this guy have 4 fucking kids behind bars while the taxpayer is... granted, he's not living the life of luxury, but at the same time, why should we be feeding the guy, clothing him, keeping him fucking heated and shit like that? If you could put a bullet in his brain and then build a family for the fucking shell, then why the fuck not? Just call it a day. It's water under the bridge and get past it. I don't believe in punitive, like, we're going to get revenge on you because you did something bad. We're going to torture you for doing something bad. I say no. Either lock the guy up because he's a menace to society, or shoot him in the fucking head, fuck the bullet hole, bury the guy, and then be done with it, but no one's paying any dough for it. But mostly I'm against the death penalty. But
Okay, let me refocus on what we were talking about.
Earl is going to refocus us
That's
after
right.
18 Bud Lights.
I don't give a shit. F you. And I don't understand why they are getting all these high school students to demonstrate where I think it's very, it's a con job as far as I'm concerned, because these kids, I'm not saying they're stupid, they just don't understand what's going on. They're asking the government to reduce their rights, and it's just unusual. It's just why didn't they do that in Sandy Hook? They didn't do that in Sandy Hook. Why didn't they do that?
It's the teachers, Earl.
Yes,
it's the teachers.
It is the teachers. Yes, it is. It's stupid. It's just.
Because my kids had no clue what this walkout was
And
for.
they probably had no. Did they have a right not to go?
Like if you didn't want to walk out of
Yeah,
the
right.
classroom.
Did they say anything?
Joshua didn't What did Joshua say?
Look, I hate to sound like an
Joshua said-
asshole, but I'm sure all the Asian kids sat inside the class and just kept reading the fucking math book, right? I mean, the Asian kids are like,
I
have
know
your
there's a
walkout, I'm
kid
going to get
that's
my
on
4.0.
Facebook that got reprimanded because he didn't go out and participate in the walkout.
That's right. That's that one kid.
Yeah.
Now
And
that's,
then they're asking the kids, well, the teachers told me to do it. Well, the teachers shouldn't be forcing this stuff on the kids.
well, no, I'm not
This
for
is
or
not
against.
school education.
I'm not for or against. Hopefully, throughout this conversation, I've maintained my position fairly well in the middle, but I don't think, I mean, I think the whole point of a demonstration is that you're voluntarily participating. So I think if you're in any way coerced into participating in any kind of demonstration, I think that defeats the purpose. I think the entire purpose of that, and again, this is another thing where you guys may not agree with the demonstration of these kids, and you might even say, well, do these kids know what they're demonstrating? Are they old enough to fully grasp what they're protesting against? But again, I would say, if they don't feel secure, they have a right to express how they feel. I mean, any human being has the right to express how they feel, whether they feel insecure or not. But if they, if you're, I think again, it goes back to the First Amendment to say you have the right to participate in this walkout if you want, but also look, if you want to sit there and study for your math test while everyone else walks out, you should have, again, that's part of your First Amendment right, that not only do you have the right to speech, but you have the right to shut the fuck up as well if you want to sit there and study and get an A+ and worry about that instead of walking out for 17 minutes and trying to smoke a blunt on the other side of your car and not let the teacher see you getting high.
It was a joint, Jason.
It was a joint. Well, I think a bowl is kind of quick and easier to pack than just if you're going to smoke in the parking lot at school. What do you think? I don't know. I didn't smoke that much weed in high school, just a little bit. What do you think, PJ? You smoked a lot of weed in high school, right?
I really don't remember, Jason.
No shit you don't. No fucking shit you don't remember. You ought to remember if it was a bowl or a joint, though. Did you roll a joint or did you pack a bowl in high school?
Whatever we had, Jason.
We would take whatever we could get. Let me ask you this.
A Coke can, Jason.
I did
It
that
didn't
a few
matter,
times in
Jason.
high school. Yeah, it didn't matter. Did you ever do an apple?
Never an apple, Jason.
Okay. PJ, I'd like to extend an invite for you to be on every fucking podcast that we do because this is fucking hilarious. So,
I listen to a lot of radio, Jason. So I really know how to mess with the host.
yeah, it's good shit though. PJ,
I really appreciate that, Jason.
I appreciate you asking that, PJ, and I want to tell you that I did.
Are you all flustered, Jason?
No, but I'm getting a little hard. This is working for me. You said you never smoked out of an apple. When I was a kid, I never smoked out of an apple either, but I saw it on a movie once. I don't know. I think it was 40-Year-Old Virgin. They smoke out of an apple at one point, and I thought, how the fuck do you turn a fruit into a bowl?
I smoked out of a asthmatic inhaler one time.
That is ironic, and I love irony.
Well done, Chrissy. Well done.
Well done, Chrissy, Jason.
Thank you.
That's our producer. You know what? When you're a teenager and you turn a inhaler into a bong, apparently you get to produce
I just want to
podcasts.
say something. All three kids have been adopted. I don't know any of them.
They were all adopted because Earl shoots blanks. So that's how we know.
And I don't mind shooting blanks. That's all right. That's all right.
But Earl did not shoot blanks in Vietnam, right?
Oh, no, I had a full clip.
Full clip. Ooh.
That's right.
Is that innuendo for something? Should I be?
No.
Is that?
No,
should I
that's
be
all right.
grossed out?
That's all right. That's all right.
Is that? Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I had a Vietnamese girlfriend.
did you know? Don't say that out loud. Joanne is in the room. Producer Joanne is not a fan of you having a Vietnamese girlfriend. Did she love you a long time?
Long time, big. Never mind.
No Alabama trouser snake. Too buku. Too buku. Are you familiar with Full Metal Jacket, PJ?
I am, Jason.
Excellent, PJ. I'm so glad that you've
You know
seen
what
that.
the
The black
Dinky
guy
Dow
was
means?
too big, so she's like, no, you're too
Yeah,
big.
no, yeah.
You know what dinky dow means?
Honestly, PJ, I'll be honest with you. Look, if I ever got turned down because my dick was too big, I tell you what, I'd be fucking proud. Look, you can get offended when you get turned down by a woman if she says, you're too ugly, or look, you're bald, I don't want that. But if she says, look, your fucking hog is too fucking big.
Definitely not an insult, Jason.
Yeah, definitely not an insult. When she says, look, you gotta go, your fucking hog is too big. This fucking thing, look at you. This
I don't know what to do with it.
I don't know. What am I going to do with that thing? I can't fit it in my fucking fireplace
scared.
as a log. Yeah, I mean, look at this. You're going to break my... Look, I got to say that's a compliment.
How did this
thank
get
you.
from?
It's something your dad can be proud of, Jason.
I'm sure my dad is wicked fucking proud of this podcast. I'm sure my parents are both listening to this shit saying, why didn't we die 10 years ago?
He's saying you should be. Your parents can be proud of your hog.
the
Of my hog.
Yeah.
I love calling it a hog.
Dear, want to leave?
Earl, come on. You can handle it. We got like 200 seconds left. I mean, so nobody ever in Vietnam ever told you tubuku. Tubuku. You never heard that?
Of course not, Jason. He's white.
Of course not. You're white.
No. Dinky dow.
Dinky Dow. What's Dinky Dow?
Stupid.
Stupid?
Yeah, crazy.
That's all it means. It's crazy. I thought you were going to say Dinky Dow means like little penis, little, get the fuck out of here, you little cock or whatever.
Oh, no. No, Vietnam was a different ball game. But
How-
I had,
In what way? Look, you told us a Vietnam story a couple episodes ago. I love your Vietnam stories. I really want to encourage you to think about your Vietnam stories so that when we have you on, I want to hear Vietnam stories. And this it's very fascinating, and I'm not fucking around. I'm being very serious. It's wicked fascinating.
Yeah, but I am not a very good example. I mean, you had a lot of
You set a good
grunts,
example for us.
You had a lot of guys that.
Your kids are well. You're a good example. You got great kids. got
You're
three
the only
excellent
one
kids.
that says that, Dad. You're
Well-
the only one that says you're not a good example.
What I'm saying is,
Just because you weren't on the front line doesn't mean you weren't there.
I wasn't shooting and killing people.
But you
know,
were still there.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And I had a lot of when I came back from Nam, it was very kind of traumatic. I would not wear my uniform in public.
Yeah, I heard that wasn't popular. You mentioned that last.
Yeah,
time. It
you were
wasn't shit
hated. I
popular.
mean, the
Well,
war was so hated.
And people had no idea, what you went through. And I didn't go through nothing. I was Air Force, so
Chair
the
Force.
Army guys,
Sorry,
they
Air
just
Force
went
bros.
through.
Love you.
They just went through, amazing stuff, and the guys that came back, it's still in their heads. It's just. It's worse than I think PTSD. I mean, I have so much respect for the Army guys, the grunts, the Marines, the Air Force is like the elite. We're kind of we don't see a lot. We don't do We have our
Did something. I saw the pics.
Well, we have our what we have to do over there. I was in Red Horse. That was our job. And so it's this amazing. I remember we went to Washington, D.C., me
That's
and
not
the
Vietnam.
wife, and we saw the wall, and there was like a vendor. There was two vendors there, and we went over, and we were talking to him, and he said to me, "Welcome home." And I thought that was the most, because when we came home,
What year was that he said welcome home to you, that vendor?
when did it had to be like probably 95, 96.
So you've been home for a while.
Oh, yes.
95,
Oh,
96,
definitely,
this is-
definitely. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And so I've never been said that to me. Nobody's ever said that to me. Welcome home.
Welcome home.
I mean, that's so minute. It's so easy to say that. It's just, in fact, my wife, she was pretty kind of shocked by that.
Yeah. I mean, and in 96, no doubt, that's a little shocking for the guy to say welcome home 20 years later. For 20 years, nobody said welcome home to you, but then 20 years later, somebody says welcome home. I mean, that's...
Yes. I would not wear my uniform in public.
What about now? Would you wear your uniform now
Yes.
at an event? Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
I mean,
You can't fit in it, Dad.
Oh my god, I thought the same thing! I thought the same exact
We're having
thing.
such a fucking serious moment. I'm about to start fucking weeping on my own fucking podcast. Jesus Christ. I'm about to like wipe a fucking tear off my eye. You wouldn't fit in that. Your monster dong wouldn't fit in that.
And that's it. So
Yeah.
you guys,
They gotta sew in a third pant leg for you, Earl. Jesus Christ, that thing is a monster dong. Jeez, I just dropped.
well, I got medals for that, so don't worry about it.
Do you hang the medals off?
Yes,
the
I
monster
do.
dong?
Yeah.
Yeah, that purple heart. That's a purple,
That's a good one.
purple-headed
You
warrior.
can swing that around.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yes, I beat your mom's head in with it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess that's probably as good a place as any to end this because I think we've been about an hour now, and I do want to say thank you to everybody who's listening to this shit. We got a little emotional. Let's hug it out. Come find me in public at Iron Empire at the gym or whatever, and we'll hug, we'll kiss. Earl,
Love you, Jace.
love you, Earl. PJ.
Love you, buddy. Love you, Pop.
Love both of you guys. Thank you guys both for coming on the show. It was good shit. I think Earl had like 7 Bud Lights during that show. It was pretty good.
Way too many. He's slurring his words.
I don't know about too many. I think maybe the right amount. It's good times. So thank you everybody for listening to this bullshit. Go buy some Bill Cosby and some Vlad the Impaler with your penis. Unless that hog is too monster, you got a monster hog. All right, we'll catch you motherfuckers later, Chrissy.
Shut up and listen. On the move to kill the opposition. Better step up out the way. I ain't got no time for no lover. Too fly to ever go under. No time for sleeping, no slumber. Better step up out the way. I'm in the strike to smash and pop a can of gas. Inhale the sweet smell for completing the task. Head bangs to my beats, so I get whiplash. And my head blows up, splitting abs in half. What? I'm the greatest, see it in my eyes. I'm better than the haters, dear God, I'm a fly. I'm not immortal, I wear a disguise. While I'm out with you preachers, I watch your demise. You slowly die, 99 is forever, brother, ain't no lie. It's notorious how I hypnotize. Finna bypass limits set by the sky. They like Dom the Lust with that magic in his blood. That be giving him the powers unattainable to us. Dom the Lust is a legend in the flesh. Got magic in his blood, he a legend in the flesh. He the best trick, turn up your system. If I were you, I would shut up and listen. On the move to kill the opposition. Better step up out the way. I ain't got no time for no lover. Too fly to ever go under. No time for sleeping, no slumber. Better step up out the way. Trick, turn up the system. If I were you, I would shut up and listen. On the move to kill the opposition. Better step up out the way. I ain't got no time for no lover. Too fly to ever go under. No time for sleeping, no slumber. Better step up, out the way. Trick, turn up your system. If I were you, I would shut up and listen. On the move to kill the opposition. Better step up, out the way. I ain't got no time for no lover. Too fly to ever go under. No time for sleeping, no slumber. Better step up, out the way.